Interim Constitution of Azad Jammu and Kashmir 1974. The Interim Constitution of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Act Roman 8 of 1974 provides for an apparently transitory autonomous parliamentary framework of self-governance and power sharing for the region of AU, defined by the Act as the territories of the state of Jammu and Kashmir which have been liberated by the people of that state and for the time being under the administration. The Act succeeded and re-enacted the Azad Jammu and Kashmir Government Act, 1970 with modifications. It was promulgated under the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Zulfiqar Ali Bhutto. The Constitution has been amended 14 times. It is based on the 1973 Constitution of Pakistan. The parliamentary system introduced a Prime Minister of Azad Kashmir as head of the government responsible for the executive power. The Prime Minister of Pakistan was to head the Azad Jammu and Kashmir Council. The council had jurisdiction over most of the legislative functioning, including executive authority over them. Following the 13th Amendment in 2018, the powers of the council were transferred to the AJK Assembly and Pakistan government, leaving it with an advisory role. The amendment also removed importance given to the usage of the word act. The Interim Constitution, along with the Karachi Agreement, Simla Agreement, and United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan resolutions, form the legal connection between Pakistan and AJK, apart from the practical connection over the decades. History. An ordinance in 1950, Rules of Business of Azad Kashmir Government 1950, vested powers in a supreme head of state. 2 years later, the Rules of Business were reconstituted, this time vesting powers in the Joint Secretary of the Ministry of Kashmir Affairs, a ministry of the Government of Pakistan. In 1958, this was changed to Chief Advisor. In 1960, inspired by the Basic Democracy System of Pakistan, an act was passed, Kashmir Basic Democracies Act 1960. This was amended in 1964, 1967, 1968. Until 1970, the administration of Azad Kashmir AJK was guided by a number of provisional orders. The governing power lay with bureaucrats in the Ministry of Kashmir Affairs, a ministry of the Government of Pakistan. In 1973, Pakistan got a new constitution. Subsequently, similar demands were made for AJK. The draft was introduced in the Legislative Assembly of AJK on 24 August 1974. It was passed without any deliberations in the Assembly. Preamble. The Preamble mentions that the 1974 Constitution is successive legislation and references the Kashmir dispute, UN mediation of the conflict, expression of self-determination through a plebiscite, Islam and the Quran. The 13th Amendment of the Constitution introduces 2 new paragraphs into the Constitution. However, with regard to self-determination, Section 7.2 of the Interim Constitution disallows any activity that goes against the accession of AJK to Pakistan. About. The Constitution provides for the creation of the following President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, Legislature, Council, High Court, Supreme Court, Chief Election Commissioner, Auditor General, Council of Islamic Ideology, Government of Azad Kashmir, President of Azad Kashmir, Prime Minister of Azad Kashmir, Azad Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly, High Court of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Supreme Court of Azad Jammu and Kashmir, Chief Election Commissioner of Azad Kashmir, Auditor General of Azad Kashmir, Council of Islamic Ideology of Azad Kashmir. For the purpose of this constitution, it does not pertain to the northern areas of the former state of Jammu and Kashmir. The Act provided for 2 executive branches, the AJK government and the AJK Council. The council was based in Islamabad and was chaired by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The council had jurisdiction over 52 subjects, including nuclear energy, aircraft, copyright, banking, insurance, stock exchanges, census, railways, oil and gas, electricity, press, education, and tourism. As per the 13th Amendment in 2018, The council stands largely abolished, with only advisory powers remaining. Amendments, references and notes. Notes, citations, bibliography Saraf, Mohammed Yusuf 2015-1979. Kashmiris Fight for Freedom. Vol. 2 1947 to 1978. Mirpur, Ajd, National Institute of Kashmir Studies. The Azad Jammu and Kashmir Laws Code PDF Volume Roman II from 1963-1970, Department of Law, Justice, Parliamentary Affairs and Human Rights. Azad Government of the State of Jammu and Kashmir, 2008-1984. Gilani, Justice Sid Manzoor Hussain 2019-1988. The Constitution of Azad Jammu and Kashmir. In the historical backdrop with corresponding Pakistan, India and occupied Jammu and Kashmir constitutions PDF. Lahore, Pakistan Jamhuri Publications. ISBN 9789696521471. Roman III Constitutional Structure of Azad Kashmir and its relationship to Pakistan PDF, with friends like these, Volume 18, No. 12c, Human Rights Watch, September 2006. Shekawat, SEMA 2007. Electoral Politics in Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. India Quarterly. 63.3, 145-167. doi 10.1177/97 quadrillion 492 trillion 840 billion 706 million 300,000. ISIN 974-9284. JSTOR 45,073,208. SDU CID 155,709,503. Ali, Shaheen Sardar, Rivan, Javed 2013. Indigenous Peoples and Ethnic Minorities of Pakistan, Constitutional and Legal Perspectives. Monograph Series No. 84. Nordic Institute of Asian Studies. Great Britain, Routledge Curzon. ISBN 978-1-136-77868-1 via Google Books. Hayat, Javed, April 2014. Azad Jammu and Kashmir AJK, Prospects for Democratic Governance Amidst Ambiguous Sovereignty, Absence of Self-Determination and Enduring Conflict PDF Thesis. Berlin, Otto Suhr Institut. doi 10.17,169/Refubium-15279. Rose, Leoe 2019. 11. The Politics of Azad Kashmir. In Thomas Raju G.C. ed. Perspectives on Kashmir, The Roots of Conflict in South Asia. Routledge. ISBN 978-10-30136-6.